Welcome to the Building Savages podcast.
New favorite fitness podcast.
I'm your boy Terrence, aka Building Beast.
I'm Evan Perez, aka EP.
On this podcast, we talk to our fellow coaches, athletes, and everyday gym goers about health, fitness, business, entrepreneurship, self growth, and so much more. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, or
We'll find you and make you smash the subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed today's topic. Bro, why the hell did I wait almost 10 years to get back on creatine? I fucking love creatine. Oh my God. I feel so much a lot more energy. I feel so much stronger. My recovery's fucking up. Why did that take so long? But it's the main reason why it took so long is I have no problem taking supplements. I think if the main point being the main point is that you should be only taking supplements when you have everything in order, like your nutrition, recovery, your training. Everything needs to be in order before you start taking that stuff. So I have everything in order. I was like, why do I need to take creatine? I was like, I'll try it out again. The reason why I stopped is because when I was younger, I used to break out a lot. It used to make me worse. So I just stopped taking it because I was like, I'm gonna break out. But I'm 31 years old. I don't give a shit about if I break out or not. Who the fuck's gonna love me anyway? But
Well, have you been breaking out though?
Nah, I've not been breaking out. I've not been breaking out. So I took it back and I was like, I'll give it a cycle. But my performance from the start into before, man, like my strength gains have increased. My recovery, has been better. Like everything's on point. But yeah, are there any other supplements that you take, or are you pro supplement, non-supplement? Like what's your thought process?
I do want to stay on creatine a little bit. I don't want to get off of that so fast before I answer that. But so you've been taking creatine for what, like a month now, give or take?
Probably been a month. I think this is my 5th week.
Okay, nice. So are you cycling? Maybe for somebody like listening, like what's how are you going about using the creatine? Like what type of
Yeah.
creatine are you using? Just
Yeah.
explain for some
So
people listening in.
Yeah, so right now I'm taking naked creatine, so it's just literally creatine. I try to stay away from proprietary blends because that's also why I
Yes.
thought maybe I was breaking out because of the other additives and shit. So first week I double scooped just to kind of get everything into my system really a little bit faster. Then after
It's
that,
like
just
you're preloading it. That's what that's considered,
preloading.
right?
Yeah, I'm preloading it into my system, and then after that, I mean, it told me to do it for 2 weeks. I mean, I'm not doing that for 2 weeks. I'm just gonna do it for 1 week. So I did it for 1 week, and then just take it every day, in the morning with a whole bunch of water and shit like that. But yeah, I've been taking it 5 weeks. I'll probably take it for 8, and then I'll just cycle off of it.
Okay. And what does the cycle off look like? Every 2 weeks you cycle off for
I
two
honestly
weeks and you
haven't
go
thought.
back
I
and
haven't
forth?
done. I honestly haven't thought that far because my goal is I have to start cutting soon. So I'll
Okay.
probably take 3 weeks and then I'm gonna cut until I go to my Puerto Rico Colombia trip. So then I'll cycle. I'll get back on creatine later. But I just wanted to kind of reintroduce it to my system and be like, all right, I know the benefits of it. I didn't take it because I didn't know what the benefits of it was and how I guess non-invasive or how non-scary it was, but I
Mhm.
stopped taking it because of my predisposition to breaking out. But I was like,
Mm.
I'll try and just see what it does for me again. But I mean, I don't remember it working this well. And
And
I
are you experiencing bloat? Because I know sometimes people say they get a little water bloat.
A little bit. You're gonna get a little bloat just because it's keeping it's keeping the salt in your system more and
Yeah.
it's actually giving you a form of recovery. But what I have been doing is I've been drinking double the water that I usually been drinking. I'm not overly bloated. I mean, and that's just a natural process if you're gonna take creatine. It's you're gonna get a little bloat, but the benefits outweigh the issues of bloat. I mean, I feel better. I move better. I'm stronger. And then the minute that I'm off of it, the bloat's gonna go away. You get me? I'm not doing any shows or anything like that. It's no big deal.
Yeah. And it's
I
not like
know
it's a crazy bloat as it is anyway.
exactly. Well, that part and it also doesn't cause me any um digestive discomfort. Yeah, I mean if some people take too much of it or they're on it too long, they usually get discomfort in their stomach. Nothing like that. Um, but I have been making sure I've been eating the amount of calories that I need to eat. I've been on my nutrition game. I've been on my training game. I'm on my recovery game. So I think the benefits, if I wasn't taking creatine and I didn't do all that stuff, I don't think the benefits will be this great. But making actually the difference between me taking it now and before was I wasn't eating enough, probably eating enough calories, drinking enough water. recovering as well as I could. Now that I have all my life in order and stuff like that, life in order, life in order. But yeah, right now it feels great.
And
Feels
yeah, there's a lot of context, right? Because like when you're introduced to it, like we're just young teenagers trying to get big and yoked or jacked and tan or all these fancy
yeah,
terms that people would use. So like your nutrition might not be the best. You often don't even know where to look for in supplements, so you kind of just go to whatever's like marketed to you when you walk into like GNC or Vitamin Shop or something like that. So it might not necessarily be the best of quality that you're going in, right? And who the
yeah,
fuck knows about a proprietary, I can't even say it right now,
yeah,
proprietary blend at
yeah,
like 16 years old, right? You know, so you start looking at like a lot of these supplements had fillers and a lot of them just had additives that just weren't good for the body. And that just made you feel a little more uncomfortable than you should. But now getting older and being a little more savvy on the body, kind of knowing where to look for into getting supplements, and it's like, all right, I'm doing this differently than I was before. So now you
exactly.
like, and it's funny, like depending on what our experience is, sometimes we hold that with us for a long time and we don't revisit it. So you're just like, oh, creatine made me break out, but there could be so many other factors that played a part of why you were breaking out, not necessarily that creatine was a thing.
Exactly. And I think it's just a different time. But yeah, I think creatine is one of those supplements that I'll probably continue using like for a good while. It just reminded me of how important of how just having more water in your system, having more salt in your system is actually like very vital to just recovery. And that's all creatine is. The reason why like you feel so great is because you're a little bit more recovered. It's kind of
Yeah.
like I kind of I know it's kind of weird to say it's kind of like a baby steroid. Like I'm not shooting it up my ass or anything like that, but it kind of just helps you recover, and that's what steroids do. Steroids just basically help you recover. It's a different level
Well,
of recovery, and it's a whole different fucking story. It's not we're not talking about that stuff, but that's the way I kind of think about it.
creatine is very natural. Like
Yeah.
creatine is found in food, and I think that's important for people to get and understand too. Like when you start looking at the body and energy systems, like the first energy system you used is the creatine phosphate system, and that's for all explosive training, heavy work. Yeah, pretty much like that's where it kind of survives in like that first burst of strength and speed and power.
Yep.
You know, so having that in your system is where it really starts to help crank out those extra reps, like that one or two extra reps on a tough set.
Yeah.
Salt is very important for our body. I know sometimes we hear, oh, you know, you don't want to put too much salt or whatever, but when you're taking care of your health and you're training, you start to use the nutrients for yourself opposed to against yourself.
Yeah,
You know,
for
like
sure.
anybody who understands the body knows that you want salt in your diet so you have energy to perform because sodium and or I should say salt is a very high performance mineral for the body. You know,
Mhm.
without that in your body, we're going to be extremely fatigued, we're not going to be as hydrated, and we're going to feel a lot weaker with a lot of things that we do. I know Stan Efferding was really big on adding salt into your diet.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into like for me, I'm not a huge supplement guy, but and as I'm getting older, like I am trying to open my mind to these things a little bit differently. But one thing that I've been trying to make sure I've been utilizing a lot more is like daily electrolytes.
Yeah.
And you can drink a lot of water, but you want to have your potassium, your magnesium, your sodium, all of that in your system because that's what keeps you hydrated. You know,
Yep.
so you don't want to feel like these minerals are flushed out of your body because this is going to be great for performance, recovery, and hydration.
Hmm. For sure. I think I think that's very important is just understanding like what's important, like what is the important stuff. And I think people need to realize like supplements aren't the end all be all, and they're not going to help you get to your result. Because if you don't have everything in line, like we talked about before, if your nutrition's dog shit, your training's dog shit, your recovery's dog shit, you taking a fat burner, you taking a mass gainer, you taking
Yeah.
creatine, it's gonna help you get where you need to go. Like a supplement is just an additive. That's literally all it
Yes.
is. Add it to help or boost performance. But if your performance is already shit, it's not gonna go really anywhere anyway. So Yeah, having like doing the little things and making sure that they all fit your system is like super important, but also making sure that you know what you're missing. So this is why like I think
Yeah, great point.
that's also important. Is like because I know I don't eat a very balanced fucking diet. Like I mean I eat relatively a healthy diet, but what I do is I'll make sure I have a multivitamin. I make sure I have vitamin D. I drink vitamin D, magnesium. I make sure I have zinc. I make sure I also have what's my last thing? A probiotic. Like those are like my stacks that I make sure I have all the time, just to kind of fill in the gaps, and especially make sure that I am living a more like healthy lifestyle, and just make sure that I'm hitting all the marks that I need to hit to make sure that I'm progressing correctly. Then, after I make sure everything's fucking right, then I'm like, all right, maybe I can take creatine and see how I feel, or maybe I can take a fat burner and see if that helps. But just know that they're not supplements are not the end all be all of anything. I think that's the super most important thing is that they're just additives. I
Yeah,
mean,
take them for word value. It's supplement, so it's supposed to be an add-on to whatever already exists. But the number one factors to any health and training regimen is sleep, recovery, and nutrition,
yes,
right? So it's not the sexy thing to hear, but if you have that, that's like 90 to 95% of everything that you need right there. So then you start to fill in the gaps with some of these other things. So, and most people are going to lack vitamin D because a lot of us aren't out in the sun all day long.
yep,
So taking a vitamin D supplement or anything that has vitamin D in it might be something that you want to, look forward to a little bit more because we typically lack that as people.
yeah,
Um, what was another one I was looking at? Oh, the electrolytes, like I brought up earlier.
mm,
Just making sure that you're drinking an efficient amount of water, and then putting those electrolytes in your diet. Probably like 10 to 16 ounces of water. Take
yeah,
some electrolytes and smack that in there so you feel nice and hydrated. I'd feel instantly a difference, like when I have a good amount of electrolytes in my body.
same,
Like I'm not a big coffee person. I only drink coffee if I want it for taste, and even that I've been doing decaf because I don't really like caffeine for me.
yeah,
I'm not opposed to it for people. I know some people are like big caffeine addicts.
why?
I think caffeine is a very important I guess that would be a supplement. Yeah, a very important supplement if you do it with moderation and in a healthy balance. I think some people become too caffeine dependent and that becomes an issue where it's like your sleep is bad, your stress is bad, and then you're doing like 4 espresso cups in a day and you're just using that to kind of like keep you afloat and then you're like a zombie by the end of the night and you rinse and repeat this every day and it's just like all right, now we got an issue here. But like a cup of coffee in the morning is really not a bad thing. I don't like when people tell you like that's a problem to have. I think the problem is when you just have a bad relationship with caffeine.
Yeah. To jump on your point, like another good idea for people that need to rehydrate or use electrolytes is what I usually do in the morning is I pour like 16 ounces of water, and I'll do pink Himalayan salt in my water.
Mm-hmm.
I'll, like use that to actually like refuel, because especially like people don't realize like when you wake up you're super dehydrated. The first thing you should
Yep.
do is not drink coffee, is to drink water, because then you'll just deprive yourself even more. And coffee, okay, which is not my favorite thing. I hate the taste, but I fucking need coffee to survive. Terrence is wild for saying that he don't drink coffee. I don't know how
I
he lives
don't.
and just like not kill people every day, because I will kill people. But um, with coffee, a lot of people also drink coffee too late. So the problem is that people don't realize that coffee has a 12-hour life half life. So basically, it stays in your system for 12 hours. So if you drink coffee at 3 o'clock in the day and you expect to have quality sleep at night, you're wild. So my recommendation for people who are taking supplements is be warned of not the side effects, but like the change in habits and the change of everything else that can happen into your system, because like if you drink coffee too late, it's gonna inhibit the quality of sleep that you have, and if it inhibits the quality of sleep you have, it inhibits the amount of recovery you do the next day, and so on and so forth. And if you're ill recovered the next day, then you're gonna need more coffee to stay alive, and then you'll get used to having more coffee in your system. And then if you actually have more coffee in your system and you're more stressed, then you'll eat more after, and then you're actually gonna start bitching about getting fat. It's a vicious cycle, and people don't realize that the vicious cycle starts with the habits that you start creating with the little things. like the little things of not being able to have the sleep quality that you need because you want to have an extra cup of coffee. Like it's important.
Yeah, it's super important. I was working with one of my online athletes. Well, still am, but we had a conversation like a little over a month ago. They were doing 4 espressos a day.
Oh my God.
Like two in the morning and then two around probably like that 3 p.m. time that you said.
Yeah.
And espresso is stronger than like your
Stronger.
regular coffee. So
Yep.
one espresso for me and I'll probably be through the roof. So four and I'm just like she was like, yeah, my anxiety was through the roof. I felt very irritable. I was crashing a lot. I'm like, that's why. I mean, this
Exactly.
the amount of caffeine that you was putting in your system, it was just this it's too much. Like it literally is too much and you're becoming dependent off of it at this point.
Exactly.
So you do want to have a good, healthy relationship with caffeine because if you start depending on it too much, like you're gonna be like a walking zombie.
Yep.
But I think that's where you should start looking into some of these other areas to where you might be a lot of people are lacking electrolytes. And
Yep.
that's something that I'm learning more just from working with people. It's like, some people aren't the best water drinkers and if you're not the best water drinker, you're definitely not the best at getting your electrolytes in. So that usually goes hand to hand. Or some people just drink so much water, but they don't put enough electrolytes in their body. So with me, when I wake up in the morning, I try to do water and electrolytes. That's like my thing first on the wake up,
Yeah.
and that gets me going for the day. And then I just drink water throughout the rest of my day and I rinse and repeat. And when it comes to electrolytes too, just all you really need is your typical electrolyte package where it's sodium, magnesium, chloride, and potassium. So you don't need to look for anything that has like high sugars and all this other stuff. I know there's a good one like Dr. Berg's. He literally just sells just straight electrolytes by itself. There's no other additives, no nothing fancy in there.
Mhm.
Apollon Nutrition has a pretty cool one where it's just electrolytes and amino acids together. So the recovery on that is pretty dope. But yeah, when you're getting your electrolytes, and even what you do, like the pink Himalayan salt, this is perfect. It gives you exactly what you need without any extra stuff added to it. There shouldn't be sugar in your electrolytes. Like
Mhm.
it's electrolytes are just minerals. There's no sugar that comes with that. There's no carbohydrates that comes with that. If you do find that, then they're doing something extra. Like I was
Yeah.
looking at the other day, like I think I was looking at like the Pedialyte packages, and I'm like, why the fuck is this 50 calories?
That's
Like
wild.
it's electrolytes.
Yeah.
Like how the hell is electrolyte 50 calories? I'm like, so they're doing something a little extra in there. And I looked, I was like, oh, this shit has like 20 grams of carbs. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah. That's sneaky. Yeah, I think
Very sneaky.
that's sneaky shit. Yeah, it's I, it's always funny because like people will always say they drink enough water and then they always cramp up. And that's like the reason why they're
Hmm.
up is because you probably do drink enough water, but you also don't intake enough salt because you're scared about the salt. The reason
Hmm.
people are so scared about the salt is because as Americans we oversaturate ourselves with salt. But like you put a little bit of salt here and there, like you're not gonna die. You actually need it for blood flow, like blood flow
Of
recovery.
course, and it's very good for recovery. And the problem with a lot of the American diet is it's either fast food or packaged.
That too.
So then that's just giving you unnecessary amounts of salt that you don't need. And chances are the people that are eating heavily processed foods are also people who aren't as movement focused.
Yeah.
So now you take being excess in salt mixed with low quality in movement, and then you get what you get after a while. But if you're eating full foods and you're eating and you're hydrating yourself properly and you're moving on a consistent weekly basis, you'll almost never run into like having too much sodium in your system unless you just literally salt your food like there's no tomorrow.
It's really
But
hard.
like,
It's really
yeah,
hard.
it's really hard. It's a really hard thing to do. Yeah, it's a really like if you cook a lot of your food or you just put like season on your food, like I don't really think you have much to worry about. If you're in a bodybuilding competition, you need to cut out salt and just dry yourself out to get on stage. That's a different conversation. But just in terms of like overall health and performance, season your food, train, hydrate yourself, you'll be perfectly fine. Like you don't really have to watch your salt intake so crazy unless like you're just not active and everything that you eat is like outside food or like canned and like packaged food. That's
Yeah.
where you really start to run into these salt issues.
For sure. That's wild. Yeah. I think I don't got anything else. You got anything else regarding the supplements?
Um, I used to take, which I would like to get back to, fish oil.
Oh, fish oil.
Fish
I heard of
oil,
fish oil too. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Omega 3s, omega 6s, just all that good fats for your body. Um, Good for joint health, things like that. Um, Protein powder I keep around just for convenience.
yeah.
If I ever need like some extra protein in my diet for the day, if I'm looking for a snack to just that's more like protein rich opposed to grabbing something that might be a little more sugar rich. So
Yeah.
I try to keep a protein around. Um, Sea moss I was using a lot. I want to go back to using sea moss. So sea moss gel is a little more on like the natural herb side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I thought your volume went out. But yeah, so sea moss is like filled of like 92 natural minerals of like the world. And yeah, it comes in like a texture of almost like an applesauce. It
Yeah.
tastes fucking horrible. It tastes really,
Sounds like it
really
tastes horrible.
bad. It tastes really, really bad. Sometimes people flavor them. Sometimes it tastes a little better if you get the right brand that knows how to flavor it, but it doesn't taste the best. But I felt amazing when I took sea moss, like the energy I would have. Um, it's good for you, like your immune system. Very, very big on that. I know you brought up zinc. Zinc is a very good thing for your immune system. So it's just like magnesium. Magnesium helps people sleep. It's a good muscle relaxer. So there's just like really good base level minerals and vitamins that we just look for to keep in the body. So if I just kind of conclude all of this, I would say like look for vitamin B. The vitamin B complex is very, very good for energy. Vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, all good for your like immune system. Um, we brought up your electrolytes. Your electrolytes is gonna help with your fluid balance. It's gonna help with not feeling dehydration. It's gonna help with performance, and it's gonna help with recovery in that sense. What did you bring up? Creatine. You
Creatine.
elaborated on creatine a little bit earlier. Fish oil, having that for your heart health, having all those omega 3s, omega 6s, just that good fat for the body, just to keep the heart nice and healthy. So when you just have a lot of those covered in your day to day, you can get a lot of it just from like your omegas and stuff you can get from eating fish. And all the vitamins you can get from having a good mixed diet of your vegetables and fruits. But when you do find yourself maybe like lacking in some of these areas, it doesn't hurt to have a supplement just to kind of aid you in that, and that's the whole point of supplements too. When you just feel like you're falling behind in some of these areas that your diet isn't fully reaching for you, you just take a supplement and just, give you some of that extra boost that you might be missing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it's yeah, I think if the moral of the story is make sure you have everything in order first before you start thinking about adding supplements
For
into yours.
sure.
And some of these supplements you don't need to wait for. Like I don't think people need to wait for D. You're lacking in D. You should get fish oils like automatically.
You're lacking in D.
You're lacking in D. You're lacking D. I like that one. I didn't even think about that one. Uh, another one that you can get right away is a multi. I know a lot of people don't have like get everything in their system with their diet, and I think the last one is like, I mean, if you want to be safe, like I honestly don't even think about protein as a supplement because like it's the only way I can get to the macros that I need to get to. So
Mm,
part of my fucking diet. It's
yeah, but it's
8%.
definitely a supplement
Yeah, but it's definitely a supplement. I agree 100%. It's definitely a supplement. I just know I just can't fit 160 grams of protein without it. There's no way I can do
Oh,
it.
one thing we didn't bring up before we stopped recording. So, depending on how you ingest your food or your vitamins and minerals, you get more in your system. Like the most you'll get in your system is from an IV, and that's been pretty popular lately now when people doing like IV drips. I actually did one the other week. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I felt a good energy boost. I don't know if it's something that I'll do all the time, but I wanted to support a business, so I went and did it. Um, if you drink your vitamins, it hits the bloodstream a little bit more, so you get more of the actual like potency of the vitamins, and pill form is where you get the least amount that hits your bloodstream. So
Okay.
that's pretty much the level it goes. IV, ingesting like drinking, and then it goes like capsule and pill form.
Mm. Okay.
So that's a very, very something just for people to keep in mind of like how much of the vitamins you'll actually absorb.
Okay. Yeah, I never forgot about those.
But
Okay.
yeah, so here's our supplement talk. Hopefully you guys picked up a thing or two. But just to conclude it all, make sure your sleep, nutrition, and your hydration and stress levels are just in order before you start looking into supplements. Like a lot of people don't need a fat burner. I think that's more for like a bodybuilding community personally. I think most people just need to work on their habits and have a better structure with things as opposed to taking something so aggressive as a fat burner.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Just
Hey,
don't
we'll
don't
talk more about fat burners on another episode.
yeah. They used to sell those motherfuckers like cake in GNC.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
because
my
like
God, bro.
that's where the money's at. The money's in fat burners.
Yeah, the money's definitely in fat burners. Fat burners and proteins are usually the second. Oh no, fat burners and pre-workouts.
Look, Test is also a big one too. Test made me the most money was at when I was in GNC.
Mm,
But anyway,
forgot about that.
no, you sell for
For
money,
another day. For another day.
guys.
Like always, like, subscribe, set your notifications. Stay tuned for all future content. The BSP will keep hitting you with more. See you soon, guys.